Hey everybody, it's Gio from Microsoft at Florida International University, and today is December 27th, 2013, and it's 4:30 a.m. So, I'm up bright and early, and in this video, I'm going to show you instance variables and global variables. So, first of all, we have this project set up, working the way I want it to work, and it's going to demonstrate exactly what I'm talking about. So, I've already written code. Don't worry too much about that. Just worry about what I'm talking about. This way you can understand what's going on theoretically. And the code is something we can always tackle. So I'm going to end up doing a lot of that later. So don't worry about that right now. Right now we're just worrying about instance variables and global variables in Construct 2. Alright, perfect. So you notice I have my book class, right? And there seems to be a variable called title, right? So title is specific to each book, and I'll show you right now. This book is called The Frog and the Princess, whereas this book is called Hannibal Chow. So these books have two different titles, and ideally, an instance variable is something specific to an object instance. So that means, as you can see, they have two different titles, and that is another characteristic that make each of these books more and more unique. So the more instance variables something has, the more factors it has that can determine its uniqueness, theoretically speaking. So you may notice now that I don't just need a UID, but at the same time, who's to say you can't have a book with the same title, well, two different books with the same title. That's more specifically what I'm trying to say. And that's totally possible, right? But then we'd have to think of something else, right? Maybe there's two different authors. Or have you thought of a different scenario where in academics, the same author usually publishes the same book several times, it just has different versions, right? So if you think about it, the title instance variable would be the same. The author instance variable would also be the same, but maybe there'd be an instance variable called version, and it would be different for each book. So there's a lot of different ways to uniquely identify each book. And ideally, instance variables are the characteristics that make up that specific object the way you want it to. So that is my representation, ideally, of an instance variable. And next, we're moving over to globals. So I'm going to pop to event sheet 1, right? And there's a global on it. It's called timer. So in a Construct 2, the way you add a global is by right-clicking your screen, your event sheet screen, any event sheet at least, and you just click Add Global Variable. So the difference between an instance variable and a global is that when you add an instance variable, you can add a number, a boolean, or a text, right? And you can add an instance variable by either clicking this, or you can right-click your object and go to instance and then do the same thing. The plus adds it. So remember, instances can use booleans, text, or numbers, whereas globals can only be numbers or text. Globals cannot be booleans, interestingly enough. In programming, that's not really the same. You have no restrictions on generally anything you do in programming. But in Construct, it's just like that. So your timer is set to 0, and that's just the way I have it, right? So my logic says wait 5 seconds and go to the next layout. And this is just to show you that both of these layouts refer to the same variable. And global variables are seen throughout your entire project. So that's really what they are. Globals are something that your entire project can see, and there's only one of them that's seen throughout the whole thing. So technically speaking, your whole project could share the same global variable, and that's generally how it works. So if you notice, on this screen, I'm counting my timer, and I have my books, and then I switch to my next layout, and the timer starts from where it left off on the previous layout. And you're probably wondering why. It's because it's referring to the same variable. So generally, that's how global works. And this is a beautiful way to display it, in my opinion. I just had to get that logic implemented. So I hope that helped, and I will see you guys next video. Thanks.